the previous lesson we have learned about the river valley civilizations. Today we are going to learn about a new topic, that is the Vedic civilization. Okay. When we talk about Vedic civilization, the Vedic civilizations was divided into two, that is early Vedic civilization and the later Vedic civilization. Now, what's the reason for this classification? Now, what happened? What is the importance of this early Vedic civilization and the later Vedic civilizations? When we see Vedic civilization, it talks about the four Vedas. It was the period when the four Vedas were composed. And based on the composition of these four Vedas, the Vedic civilizations was classified into early Vedic civilization and later Vedic civilization. And the Vedic civilization comes between 2500 BCE, 2500 BCE. Okay? The period of this early Vedic civilization is 2500 BCE to 1500 BCE. So this period is known as Vedic period or Vedic civilization. During this period the Vedic civilization was developed. Now, when we see this civilization, we can classify this into later Vedic period and early Vedic period. And what's the period of early Vedic period? Early Vedic period, it is from 1000 BCE to 1500 BCE to 1000 BCE. It is the period of early Vedic civilization. So the early Vedic period is from 1500 to 1000 BCE, and the later Vedic period, it comes from 1000 BCE to 500 BCE. Now, what is the importance of this Vedic civilization and who composed this civilization? When we learned to know all these things, we have to know about the arrival of new people. They are called Aryans. Okay? So the arrival of Aryans. Who is this Aryan? Okay, Aryans were the nomadic people. Okay, Aryans were the nomads. They will not settle or live in a particular place. They keep on moving place to place because their main occupation is cattle rearing. Okay, so most of these Aryans were the shepherds. When the pasture gets over in a particular place, they move to other part in search of the shelter and the good pasture for their cattle. Now these Aryans were nomads. They are from Central Asia. Okay, they are not the Indians. They are from Central Asia. Now, what is the reason for these Aryans to invade India, to come to India, though they were the shepherds? Now, during 1500 BCE, there was population increased in Central Asia. Okay, since the population increased, number of occupation or the cattle also increased, and there is no pasture. There was drought prevailed in Central Asia. Okay, so people, to escape from the drought and the critical situation in Central Asia, they started to move in different parts of the world. That's why a group of people, they moved to India through the Khyber and Poland Pass in the northwest part of India. They entered into India from Central Asia. Now, what is the main reason for these people? Okay, the main reason for Aryans to invade India is to invade, it means to capture the indigenous inhabitants. Okay, there were two types of indigenous inhabitants. They lived in India. The main motive of the Aryans is to come and to settle in India. So they came to invade India, okay? And when they came to India, it was 1500 BCE when they came to India. And it was this period when the first Veda was composed. So the first Veda was composed during 1500 BCE. It was composed by the early Aryans who invaded India. And later, after 1000 BCE, the remaining 3 Vedas were composed. Okay, that's why we call this period as the early Vedic period, and the later Vedas, when it composed, the period when it composed comes under the later Vedic period, and the civilization also classified according to that. Now when we see, when the Aryans they came to India, first they have settled in Sapta Sindhu region. Okay, where is Sapta Sindhu? For example, when we see India, okay, here there are 7 rivers that flows in this region, okay, in the Indus region. They came through this way and entered here, okay. The region is Sapta Sindhu, okay, where the 7 rivers it flows, okay, and they call this place as Brahmavarda. Brahmavarda means the land of gods, and slowly they increase their power and slowly they move forward in search of pasture for their cattle. So slowly they moved from Sindhu region to the Gangetic plains where the Ganga river flows. Okay, then they settled in the Gangetic plain. They call this place as Aryavarta. Okay, what's the meaning of Aryavarta? The word Aryavarta means land of Aryans, because here they settled strongly and their power and government, everything, it came under the control of the Aryans. That's why it is called Aryavarta. Okay, here they just became the settlers. They were not the settled people. They keep on moving. Okay, when they came to Aryavarta, they started to settle their life. That's why it is called Aryavarta. And when we see Vedic literature, I said there are different Vedas were composed. How we come to know about these Aryans? Okay, Vedic literature. It comes under Vedas. When we talk about Vedas, there were 4 important Vedas, that is Rig, Yajur, Sama and other Vedas. And apart from Vedas, they also had Upanishads, Puranas and epics. So, to know about the Aryans, these are the important sources which gives detailed information of the Vedic period and the arrival of the Aryans. Now we will see, when we talk about epics, it is 2 important epics. One is Ramayana and other one is Mahabharata. Okay, these are the 2 important epics. Ramayana talks about the life of Rama and Mahabharata talks about the Pandavas. Okay, here these are the important sources of material which gives us information about Vedas. Okay, when we say about Vedas, what is Vedas consist of? Okay, Vedas consist of various hymns, literature, okay, and education. Okay, so most of the Vedas, it comes kings, okay, in the form of kings. So these are about the important sources of material about this Vedic civilization. The next thing when we talk about the early Vedic civilization is the political condition. What is the political situation of early Vedic civilization? When we talk about political situation, the Aryan society was classified into different tribes. Okay? There were different tribes were there, and the head of the tribes were known as chieftain or Rajan. And the strongest and the powerful person from this tribe became a king. Now, when we see the political condition of the early Vedic civilization, the king had not had the absolute power. The absolute power lied in the hands of two important council of people. The one is Sabha and another one is Samiti. It is the large council. The people, any member of the village can take part in Samiti. But Sabha is the smaller council. Only the important members will take place. And what is the duty of this Sabha and Samiti? They gave advice and counsel to the king in times of need. That is the duty of the council of ministers. And then when we see the political condition, another important person took part in this political council or political situation is Purohita. Purohita did two important duties. The first one is religious ceremonies were done by Purohita, and also he took part in the he advised to the king. He gave the advice to the king, and king gave different gifts to Purohita. In those days, cow was respected and it was considered as a valuable gift. So the Purohitas were given gift in the form of cows and lands. So in those days, Purohitas were the richest people in the society. They were the richest people in the society. And the next thing when we see Senai or Senapati, okay, Sinani, or we can say Sinani. Okay, who is this person? He is a soldier. Okay, he is a soldier and he led the war. Okay, in times of emergency, or if he wanted to protect his border, he is the person who led the war. Now, what is the duty of the king? The king always mindful of his subjects. Okay, so he did two kinds of duties. One is protecting the people from the enemies and giving all the welfare activities to the people based on the needs of the people. That's what the rule of the king. And the next thing you are going to learn is social life. When we talk about the social life of the Aryans, the social life of the Aryans gave importance to the families. Okay, the family was a knit connection with each other. They had the joint family. Okay, number of families lived in a village. A village consists of number of families. Okay, so when we talk about social life, first of all, we are learning about family. Okay, when we talk about family, it is the joint family. Group of families lived in a village. Okay, group of families they lived in a village. And consists of a group of family. And the head of the family is called Girgabadi. Okay, what is the head of the family? The head of the family is called Girgabadi. Okay, he is the male member in the society. Elderly male member in the family is considered as the head of the family and he is called as Girgabadi. So, based on the family, all the decisions were made by Girgabadi and all the members of the family are supposed to be bounded to the decisions which is made by Girgabadi. And the next thing when we see the condition of women in the society. What is the position of women in the society? Women were respected in the society. They were respected and they enjoyed with all the privileges. Okay? Without women there is no religious ceremonies. So in all the religious ceremony, along with the husband, women they took part in the society. And women were given right to get education. Okay, we have seen different hymns in Vedas. Some of the hymns in Vedas were also composed by the female member in the society. Even they have took part in the assembly. Okay, one who assists the king in Sabha and Samiti. Two assemblies were there, two councils were there. So there were some of the women members even included in the council. And also no child marriage was allowed. Okay, no child marriage was allowed and widows were allowed to remarriage. Widows were allowed to remarriage. And there was the system of monogamy prevailed in those periods. What is monogamy? One man, one wife. Okay, the system was prevailed during this period. So the women they enjoy a lot of privileges. Food, recreation, dress, okay, and different other activities, religion and other things. Okay, so when we talk about food, the Aryans they took the nutritious food. They gave importance for milk and milk products. Okay, not only milk and milk products, they also gave importance for wheat, barley, maize, millet, and other products where became the staple food of the Aryans. They gave importance for food. And the next thing is recreation. What is recreation? How did they spend their leisure time? They are involved in both the indoor and outdoor activities. Both the indoor and outdoor activities. When we talk about indoor activities, some of the indoor activities that comes under is like dice and board games. Okay, these are some of the important indoor games which the Aryans gave importance to. And outdoor game is chariot riding and also hunting. So they gave importance for chariot riding and hunting. These were the recreational activities which were done by the people. And when we talk about the dress, what type of dress were worn by these people? They wore two pieces of dress. Okay, both men and women they wore ornaments. And the ornaments made of gold, silver, and precious stones. So both the men and women they wore ornaments. They wore the piece of cloth, and the men they have wear headdress or headgear. Okay, so getting headgear was worn by people. When we talk about two pieces of cloth, when men wear the cloth like dhoti and women wear a shawl. Okay, these are the importance about the dress and clothing of these people. Now coming to religious condition of these people. What is the religion they have followed? The Aryans gave importance for different gods and goddesses. They worshipped the forces of nature. They gave importance for nature also. And the different gods, important gods they have worshipped was Indra. Indra, the god of rain and thunder. And Agni. Agni is the god of fire. Vayu is the god of wind. Soma is the god of plant. Usha, god of dawn. These are the important gods, and also Yama is the god of dead. These were the different gods who were worshipped by the early Vedic Aryans. And the next thing we are going to learn is economical life. How did they yield their product? How did they get their income? How did they lead their life? Economical life, when we see, they have mainly did agriculture. We know that Aryans, the early Aryans were not the settled people, they were the nomadic people. Later, when they came to Aryavata or in the Gangetic plain, they led a settled life. Okay, when they have started their settled life, they were started to do agriculture. They did different varieties of fruits and vegetables. Okay, they also cultivated grains and pulses, and they have yielded a lot of income. They also traded it with not only in India, they also traded in outside of India. That's how they yield their income. During those time, barter system was there. Okay, there is no money to buy or sell things. They have used the barter system in those period. So children, this is all about the Vedic civilization. So the Vedic civilization came to India with the arrival of the Aryans in 1500 BCE. Aryans first settled in Sabda Sindhu, then they came to Gangetic plain. It is called Aryavata. Then later Vedic period, we can have different literary sources like 4 Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, epics. Okay, these are the important sources which gives us detailed information of the Vedic civilization and the people in the Vedic period. And the next thing we have learned is political situation. There were different tribes were there. Tribal head was known as chieftain or Rajan, and the strongest and the bravest man became the king. To assist the king, there were 2 important sabhas, that is Sabha and Samiti. Okay, women were also took part in the assemblies. And the next thing we have learned is social life of the people. Family, it is joint family. Family are the close knit together. Okay, and we have seen the next thing about the recreation and the position of women. Women were respected and given importance in the society. Recreational activities, they involved in both indoor and outdoor activities. They gave important nutritious foods. Okay, they took wheat, barley, maize, millet and milk products. They also did agriculture. They worshipped different gods and goddesses. And Aryans, they have no temples. During the early Vedic period, there is no temples found. They worshipped in open air. Okay, during their worship they used different hymns and rituals to satisfy their gods. And yajanas were practiced, yagas were sacrificed, were done by the people. Different yajanas were practiced. Okay, even the kings they practiced different yajanas, and in the family they have practiced different yajanas. To involve in these yajanas, women also they took part along with their husbands in the family religious ceremonies. So this is all about the early Vedic civilization. Now you can take a textbook. I will mark and give you a few questions from this lesson. Turn your book to page number 49. A section, first one Sabda Sindhu, second one Rig Veda, Atharva Veda, Sama Veda and Yajur Veda. Third one Sabha and Samiti. Fourth one Indra. Fifth one is Sudras. Match the following. First one 5, 4, 1, 2, 3. Section C. First one Central Asia, second one Rajan, third one Senani, fourth one Indra and fifth one Warrior. D. First one false, second true, third false, fourth true, fifth true. E. Section 1. You can mark from the question. The Aryans arrived. You can change arrive into arrived in India by 1500 BCE. Second one page 43, third one page 44, fourth one page 44, fifth one page 45, sixth one page 46 and seventh one I will give the answer. You can write it down. The early Vedic society was distinctly classified into 4 different classes, but no such system existed in the Indus Valley society. Point number 2, the Indus Valley civilization did not have kings, whereas in the Rig Vedic period each tribe had its own chieftain or Rajan. Here you can add one more question. What is Swayamvara? What is Swayamvara? You can write page number 45. Turn your book to page 50, F section 1, page 43 and 44. 2, 44, 3, 44 and 45, 4, 45, 5, 45 and 46, 6, 46, 7, 46, 8, 47. And G section, first one Swayamvara, second one early Vedic period, third one page 45, fourth one Indra, god of rain and thunder, Agni, god of fire, fifth one page 46. After writing, you can turn page number 43. Under the subheading Aryans, right side top paragraph fully you can mark for F1. The Aryans entered India in stages and took several centuries. That paragraph fully you can mark for F1. And in the same paragraph from 3rd line, 4th line, 5th line and 6th line beginning you can mark for E2. E2. 3rd line, they first settled is there. You can change they into the Aryans. Then we can conclude F1 in the next page till Vedic period. After marking, move to the next subheading Vedic literature. First 3 lines you can mark for E3. And move to second paragraph. Under Vedic literature, fully you can mark for E3. And under the subheading Vedic literature, fully till the box. Did you know that box is given? Till above that box, you can mark for F2. Fully. Vedic literature, fully you can mark for F2. Then move to next subheading political organization, second paragraph. And third paragraph, fully you can mark for F3, political organization, second and third paragraph you can mark for F3. And in third paragraph, 6th line, 7th line and 8th line you can mark for E4. E4. After marking, come to the social life. social life and position of women fully you can mark for F4. F4. After marking only the position of women from the beginning till 6th line, means till the end of the para you can mark for G3 also. G3. And above that picture, that Swayamvara picture, above that picture, 5th line, 6th line, 7th line, 8th line you can mark for E8. E8. After marking, come to the next subheading F5 recreation. Fully you can mark for F5. And under the subheading religion, fully you can mark the first paragraph. Fully you can mark for F6. And the first paragraph, second line, beginning you can mark for G3, G4. And under the subheading religion, second paragraph, fully you can mark for G5. Under the subheading class system, first paragraph, fully you can mark for E6. And from the beginning till the end of the 4 dot points are given. End of the dot points you can mark for E7. Then under the subheading economical life you can mark for F8. F8. Children, we are going to learn about the Varna system or class system of early Vedic society. Okay, how the Varna system is started. The Varna system was classified based on the Varnas, 4 important Varnas, that is Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras. It is said that the Brahmanas, they came out of the head of Brahma, and Kshatriyas, they came out of the shoulder of Brahma, and Vaishyas, they came out of the waist of Brahma, and Sudras, they came out of the feet of Brahma. So, in the beginning of the early Vedic period, the 4 classes in the society were based on the job which they have done. Now, during the early Vedic period, the Varna system was not that rigid. It was flexible. They can have intermarriage among any caste. But in later Vedic period, the Varna system became very rigid and seriously followed. Only the Brahmanas were given importance for education, but in early Vedic period, everybody got opportunity to get education. So that is the vast difference between the early Vedic period and later Vedic period. Later Vedic period, the class system became very rigid. So children, today we have learned about the early Vedic civilization. Here we end the class. You learn the portion well and study well. We will meet in the next class. Thank you, children.